Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most Renaissance man, who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the Yard Streams for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. It's not just me, Patty P, here in the Yard Streams. I'm joined, as always, by the best of the West you can't forget about. Sarah Marshall, what's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
I have one thing I want to say.
Okay.
Is that okay?
4 letters, 1 word. Stop.
Did that?
I just had to say. That's what I repeat what he says. So
I didn't even see that, and I had it lined up. That's what happens when you don't scroll down far enough. Damn.
that's my trouble
hilarious.
chief. So that's my trouble chief right there.
He had a good weekend. He had a pretty good weekend.
He
in Saudi
sure
Arabia.
did. I love the people that are mad about it.
People are mad about it. I got 2 words. Get over it. That's 3. But anyways,
I was gonna say.
no,
Well, also,
that's a joke.
they're like, oh my god, Jacob only had it for 70-something days. It's also like, okay, well, the feud wouldn't be good or continue much longer if they didn't do something with Solo. And I'm sorry, Solo has been here like every single week trying to be the best that he can be with what they're giving him. So like to act like he doesn't deserve a title run when he was even had a title in NXT is just kind of silly to me. But
no, and it makes the Bloodline feud interesting again. Everyone was talking about how the Bloodline 2.0 feels like it's fallen flat. Well,
they all hate it.
They all hate it, but that's because it isn't what it was. Like you're living in the past. Move on. And right now, with what they're doing, the additions of I'm calling him Talalonga. It's Hikalu's name now. It's
his real name is Tala. So
Talatonga.
Yeah,
Talatonga. Add him into the mix now.
Yeah.
You have Tongaloa returning.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have them. Yeah, because is it 4 or 3?
There's 3 of them now.
And you have
Jacob,
and then
2.
Jacob's the 4th. So then
and then Tamatonga will be.
That's
back.
what I'm saying. And Tamatonga isn't going to come back and join Solo. If you think back to all the vignettes, or not vignettes, but like cutaways of them entering the arena and who was by Jacob's side the entire time, like that's adding some substance to the Bloodline feud that we haven't seen in a long time.
I agree to this. I agree with this to an extent, only because they didn't have a proper plan for him after the breakup of the Bloodline. But I also think that people need to hold Roman more responsible for what has happened with the Bloodline, because his absences, as I've said before, really hinder the progression or like even the solidification of certain storylines or certain characters. And I would say the Bloodline 2.0 or even the whole run of Solo trying to be the next tribal chief would have been better if Roman were there. And he just wasn't for multiple months. So no. You know what though? I think that would have been really interesting because they could have really built up Solo. And I get people aren't a fan of Solo, but like that could have been a huge Mania match, but also a huge character arc for Roman. To again, like what we talked about, right? Like the fall of the Bloodline, we would want to see Roman get stripped of everything, and then he would have to like claw his way back to the top. Like that kind of would have been interesting and an easy way for people to really support him as a legitimate babyface again. I feel like, I mean, obviously they support him. I'm not saying that they don't, but like that's not something that we've seen before, because after the Shield broke up, Roman was basically handed every opportunity because Vince wanted him to be the guy.
Yeah, so, it would have been it wouldn't have been a forced story like it was before with Roman. It would have been an organic, hero's arc with the fans and whatnot. If they went that way, the problem was he was too big of a star at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it could still be done, but again, regardless, I think that his absence has been like, it's not been good. And yeah, I think he's past. Like, I think we're supposed to be past it, but like, I don't know. To me, it just feels like they don't really know what they're doing with Solo right now. Because I want to see more of that sassy, funny Solo. Like, can we get more of that?
I think we're gonna get that with the championship run.
I hope
think we're
so.
gonna we already saw it with the clip you just played. You know, so we're gonna see some of that.
The funny part is that's a likable Solo Sikoa. Like, so if they're, I mean, so many people, his clips from like Money in the Bank, for instance, were like going viral because of like
mimicking everybody.
Yeah, because he actually is really funny. That's why I think on the show with Stephanie, they said that Solo was like the funniest one of the entire family. And I'm like, him and Jimmy they feel like more like they're twins than Jimmy and Jay. The way that Solo and Jimmy are so similar.
Very, yeah. They're very similar.
Yeah.
He had a good weekend. Night of Champions, that whole nonsense that went on. I mean, with Seth Rollins being the ultimate hater, traveling to Saudi Arabia to cost CM Punk the championship, faking a cash in. What other? Jade Cargill was announced Queen of the Ring.
And Cody, King of the Ring.
Cody
which
was
we
the king.
Kind of knew.
Yeah, we did okay on our predictions.
No, I got 3 out of 6. So.
Oh, so then I got 3 out of 6.
Yeah, because I got Jade wrong, Solo wrong, and what was the other one I got wrong?
Solo.
Rhea. Oh no, we got Rhea.
No, we got Rhea right.
Yeah, and we got Cody right, and we got Cena right.
Yeah. So
what was the last match? There was another match.
Jade.
We wanted Asuka to win because we wanted Asuka versus Io more than we wanted Jade versus Tiffany.
It seems like it's gonna be a slow burn to Asuka Io. Because after last night, I'm happy they announced what they announced.
Well, because that's the thing that's weird is like I understand what they're doing, but like Clash in Paris is at the end of August, which is after SummerSlam. So technically they could still do Asuka Io at SummerSlam.
Yes, exactly.
But then they have to pivot quickly because in 3 weeks or 4 weeks after that, then they're preparing for Clash in Paris. So yeah,
could happen
so
in the works. We'll see how far along they book. A lot of good stuff going on.
Oh yeah, we predicted
Cross. That was it. We had Cross winning.
Yeah, because that's what should have happened.
Yeah, we had Cross winning.
I get it. I get the whole, Sammy's super over and whatever, but I really hate when where the show is almost dictates why someone wins, because that's really the only reason why Sammy won was because they were in Saudi, and it was like, it was like a feel good moment, and I'm like, y'all made sure that Drew McIntyre did not win the title in front of his family in Ireland, or Scotland, like I don't think that should matter, but I think in this case it did.
I would view it as Sammy winning. I mean, this might be my feeling after last night, but they're going to continue this. Well, no matter what, they were going to continue this. And in my view, I don't really care that Sammy's going to pick up the win because of where they are. Like, cool to me, as long as it furthers the story, because that's what we want. Like, I'm all right with it. I'm all right with those details being lost. So yeah, that's we already heard from some of the peeps. David was popping. The other David was popping to you, Sophia. I was there yesterday as well in the morning. All right, I went. Oh shit! Hey, my lights decided to work. Oh, or not. Cool. I went there in the morning to start my day, and I did not see you guys. But I did see Sarah. I don't know if you knew this, but pro wrestler Anthony Green, Indies star. Oh my god, stop. He's traveled all over the world, wrestled in Japan. He was just actually wrestling in MLW. I saw he took on I almost said Mr. Anderson. He took on Arn Anderson's kid in MLW. He's going to be a big name. He was already in NXT for a little bit. But, yeah, hopefully he makes his way back. What else? Renaissance Man. What's up, Aaron? Thank you. Happy. It's July 1st, but good try. Where
I can't believe it's already July.
It does seem weird. It does seem weird that it is July. Yeah, time flies. He should stay in Noah. I would like to see that. You know, he had a lot of success there. I've been following him a little bit, but he's in the Opera Cup right now, which is allegedly, Sarah, the oldest tournament in professional wrestling history, starting in the 1800s. And MLW has it. It's a tournament of 3 brands: CMLL, some Japan one, maybe Noah, and MLW stars are in a tournament. And the winner, it's basically like a King of the Ring, but you get the cup instead. Austin Aries is in it, and Bobby Fish. So, and Anthony Green and Mystico, actually. So, yeah, enough about that.
Well,
side of the wrestlers.
Hi Jay. Hello, Nathaniel.
Okay,
so getting into Raw, the show starts off with Rhea Ripley, who doesn't really get to say a whole lot before Io Sky's music comes on, and we find out that we are going to see Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley, as I say here, part 47 at Evolution. And this got a mixed reaction, I would say, from the fans, like in the arena and online, because I think that people were hoping for something different. I mean, obviously they teased Asuka versus Io last week ahead of Night of Champions, so I think people were looking forward to that. And now that we obviously know that Jade won Queen of the Ring, she's going to face Tiffany because she's on SmackDown. So that leaves Io with nothing for Evolution. And I don't know what the plan was. You know, we know that Liv being out definitely threw a wrench into whatever their Evolution plans were. So I don't know what that meant for other people, but I'm kind of like split on how I feel about Io versus Rhea, because we've seen it so many times at this point. So that's why I'm like, okay, I really don't need to see this. But especially because you thought that the Mania match was going to be the end of it, even though Rhea was like, Bianca got in the way. It's like, well, yeah, that was a triple threat match. Like, that's gonna happen.
That's the point.
But I think part of why I'm also not looking forward to it is I really wouldn't be surprised if they put the title back on Rhea, because they want to see her feud with like Stephanie back here. And I'm like, I like her Rhea versus Stephanie at Clash in Paris. I'm like, no.
I would much rather see Io Sky versus Stephanie Becker.
Yeah, and I think I don't see
that's something. I don't see Rhea immediately getting the strap. To me, this does seem like a pivot of a match. Liv definitely, you know, her impact on Evolution as a whole is definitely going to be felt. Like, where the hell is Nikki Bella gonna go?
I don't think she's. I think Nikki's gonna go to the Battle Royal now. That's the only.
Too.
Because obviously their plan was, I would assume, it was going to be a singles match between her and Liv, just like a grudge match, or they were going to do a tag team title match, which was going to be the Bellas versus Liv and Raquel. Now that Liv is out, that takes off a singles match. That also takes off a tag match, because what's Nikki's beef with Raquel or Roxanne? So it feels like the only thing now, because also we have to remember, the show is in less than 2 weeks. If they don't have anything for Nikki at this point, the assumption is she's just going to be in the Battle Royal, which doesn't make me mad, because I feel like the show should be filled with current women and not legends.
Like, the Legends is the Battle Royal. Like, that's where I want the Legends to be.
But not full, because the winner faces a champion at Clash in Paris. So,
but what I'm saying, like, you can have, like, all right, for instance, say a legend doesn't win the Battle Royal. Okay, going in, throw your legends in there is what you're saying. Like,
like the way that they used to do the Royal Rumble.
That's fine, because you want to see, like, honestly, I would no, they're doing it already. The NXT Women's Championship is being defended on the card. You know, that's something that I want to see over Nikki Bella just having her 7 minutes of fame, taking over a spot where, yeah, just put her in the battle royal because shit didn't pan out the way you planned it, and give it to someone who's been fighting and clawing for an opportunity like this, because it could lead to more opportunities like that for other people.
Well, and Nikki had a big spot on the original Evolution. So it's like, I get
she
that.
Fought Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, in the main event. So that's
Hilarious.
the thing. I get if it's kind of sucky for her to be like, oh, I was looking forward to this and now, I can't do it. But it's not something where, she's been on the roster this entire time and she's been hoping for this to happen or whatever. Like, no, she's already been there, done that, and she can still be involved in just a different way. Which, whatever. But so Io versus Rhea is now on the card.
It's gonna slap. It's the perfect match for Evolution. It's not. It still can potentially give us Io Asuka at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, they have decent time between Evolution until SummerSlam. It's almost a month. I also wouldn't be too mad if they didn't even have a women's match at Saturday night's main event, because I don't want them to rush anything. We already know that they're going to have a women's tag title match at Evolution, which we'll talk about. We already know that the women's world title is going to be defended. So it's like, I don't want them to feel like they have to force a women's match on the show just to make sure that people aren't complaining that there wasn't a women's match on the show. It's like, I would rather you have those matches be on Evolution, because that matters more than a random Saturday night's main event,
I agree.
I agree. And it's the night before, right?
What?
Isn't Saturday night's main event
on the night before Evolution
or the 13th? Yeah.
It is the night before Evolution.
Yeah. Yes. So
where Goldberg's career ends.
Yeah. From your mouth to God's ears. Anyway, okay, moving on to my bays. Judgment Day had a match with The New Day, and it was a World Tag Team title match, which I might be in the minority here, but I was legitimately shocked that JD McDaddy and Finn Balor won. I was not. I was shocked. I happy clapped like no other. I have to.
Well, you texted me immediately.
Oh yeah.
Usually, it's like that's when you know. That's when you know. You're like, oh my god, something's happened. Like you didn't predict it. You couldn't feel that.
No, like as I was watching it, and there was more. The near falls kept piling up. I was like, all right. Is there a chance? But I was sitting there and I'm watching it with my sister and my nephew, and I'm like, there's no chance that they're winning them back right now. Like, that's not possible. I didn't think so. When it happened, I was like, what? But
I was shocked. I was legitimately shocked when that happened. I did not expect that at all. I thought it was going to end when they hit the midnight hour and they referenced Big E in it. And I was like, okay, they win it. Grayson Waller wants to turn with them, whatever. And they kick out. And then the combo finishings and whatever between Finn and JD into the pin. And I was legitimately shocked.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Xavier and Kofi, but I do feel, I wouldn't say, like, as I saw in the comments, Richard say, do you feel like they were done dirty? I wouldn't say that they were done dirty necessarily, but I would agree that their heel turn has been super underwhelming since the initial night, basically, that they turned on Big E. And then I would say for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks after that, it was like still pretty good. And then they just kind of gave up on whatever they were trying to do with them. So I do feel for them in that regard. And then, of course, their tag title run was weird, but I also feel like they shouldn't have won it when they did anyway, because the heat on them was already gone when they won.
Heels have better heat when they have something to, we'll say, covet and chase after. When they hate everyone and become obsessed with one singular thing, that's when they become interesting. We saw that with Drew McIntyre and his heel turn. I became obsessed with his Mania moment, recapturing the WWE Championship. With the New Day, they were at their best when they were saying they were all high and mighty and saying and asking why is the locker room against us and all this when they weren't the champions, because they felt like they deserved it. And you're like, all right, like, what's your end goal here? And then because of the status of the Raw tag team division, there was no else to go but them winning the tag team titles to become obnoxious about how good they are because they have the tag team titles, but they didn't do anything with it. At least Judgment Day, Finn, that story right now is more interesting with everyone having gold. So
you know what I also think it is that their heel turn was focused on turning their back on Big E.
Exactly.
And that's
we lost that.
Because Big E is not actively on the roster right now. So it was like the reason that people were booing them and hating on them, there was no constant reminder of it, because the only time you see Big E now is like on the post show or the pre-show. So it's like
all you can do.
It was easy for people to not really care, because it's like, yeah, I didn't like the things you said to Big E, but like, it's not happening every single week. You didn't beat him up backstage or something to like remind me why I'm supposed to hate you. It was like they were trying really hard. I mean, their style changed, the way that they presented themselves, even the way they spoke. They got a new theme. Like they tried everything, but I feel like they really put them in a box by having it so centered around Big E and then not getting a payoff, because obviously he can't be around, so like he can't really feud with them. And I think that's kind of what derailed it. And that's why I also think it made sense to give the titles back to Judgment Day, because they don't have to try hard to write Judgment Day into an episode of Raw. They're on every single week. They don't have to have
on every other segment.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's the same thing when we were talking about the women's tag titles being on Bianca and Jade. Like, they might not have defended them much, but they were on TV every single week because it's Bianca and Jade. So It's like, at least you saw that they were doing something backstage, or they were still relevant. They didn't have to try too hard. And that's the same thing with the Judgment Day. Again, they could go a month without defending them, but they're going to be in a backstage segment at the very least every single week during that month. So it's like hard to complain about that.
TV time. That's all it is, TV
time. Richard says creative probably underestimated how good that New Day turn on Big E segment was going to be. I think so too. And I think this is the problem that I caught. Like, so I saw Micah saying earlier in the chat, I don't know if he's still here, but is there anything that Triple H does that you can't stand? Now, I can't limit it to just Triple H, obviously, but something that I don't like about the Triple H era is I feel like they don't have a solidified plan with a lot of the stories that they start. So a lot of the time, like, the beginning is really good, and then it just like goes completely downhill. You could talk about it with the New Day heel turn. You could talk about with the John Cena heel turn. You could talk about, Roman losing the title. They had like no plan for him after that. It's like everything was like right here. And then when you finally feel like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, everything goes downhill. And I feel like it's a pattern that we keep seeing. And so that is something that I'm like, I don't like that because it doesn't do anybody good. It doesn't make any sense. And yes, good title reigns. I would say the only one that's been really good was Gunther's IC title reign for the most part.
I thought Cody's was okay. I thought Cody's first run as champion was pretty good.
Yeah, I think Cody's was better than people want to give him credit for.
I would agree with that sentence.
Yeah, because he had really good matches.
Really good matches.
People like to overlook those things because it only matters when we're talking about their favorite wrestler. So, yeah, that's really frustrating. Oh yeah, Seth's was good too. But since we're talking about the Judgment Day, we know that Liv has undergone surgery and she is on path to recovery. And because of that, they have to deal with her absence in the Judgment Day, which means that they were going to have to figure out what they were going to do with the women's tag titles. And I think even if you're not a fan of Judgment Day, you were hoping that they weren't going to strip the titles off of Raquel for like the third time. Because
you just felt bad as a person, man. You don't want to see that happen again.
Well, And if you didn't like Raquel before Night of Champions, you sure should now, because she put on a banger match with Rhea.
Oh no, she had a hell of a career pivoting match.
And you knew that was going to happen because they're friends. You know what I mean?
Pitfalls, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so
they have a good chemistry in the ring and outside of it.
So instead of the general managers announcing that they were going to strip her of the tag titles, Finn says, how about we just find her a replacement partner? And he nominates Roxanne, who had already earlier in the show been formally voted in to be a member of Judgment Day. So now we see Roxanne is going to be tag team champions with Raquel. And I think we kind of predicted this when we said, when Liv was when it was announced that she was going to miss a lot of time. We were like, okay, Raquel should just replace her, or I'm sorry, Roxanne should just replace her. So the fact that it's happening, I think it's interesting, because I really think that Liv is going to come back as a babyface. I could see her and Dom being babyfaces when Liv returns.
Yeah, after what we saw last night with the vote to see if Roxanne should be a member of Judgment Day, you could see Dom hesitating to give his vote, where Finn is the one that's like, come on, Dom, you can make your decisions on your own.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's not, he can't make the decisions on his own, not because of how he was viewed when he was with Rhea Ripley.
Right.
Like, that was a boy. That was Dirty Dom boy.
Yeah.
Now with Liv, it feels like he's a man who can make his own decisions.
He's Daddy Dom now.
Exactly. And it's not that he doesn't want to make this decision for himself, but he truly cares.
You know what else?
Different.
There's a fair argument to be made here that Dom's vote would not have mattered. So even if he said, no, I don't want Roxanne in, it was 3-1.
I know, but Raquel, I felt like was the...
No, but what I'm saying is he has an argument with Liv. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, he just did it because it's like, all right, well, I didn't want Raquel to be stripped, because as of right now, things feel fine between Dom and Liv and Raquel and Liv, right? So you would assume that Liv would not want Raquel to be stripped of the women's tag titles, even if that meant that Roxanne had to step up in her place. So this might come back and be bad eventually. Maybe Raquel turns on Liv, or, whatever kind of manipulation she's going to fall to from Roxanne and Finn. But as of right now, I feel like in kayfabe, Liv can't be mad at what happened, and like I said, technically Dom's vote wouldn't have mattered. And you could argue too, Raquel would have said yes no matter what, because she didn't want to be stripped of the title. So why not get
That's true.
Roxanne?
No, that is true.
And Roxanne is very similar to Liv. They're both smaller. They both wrestle the same. So
Finn's a little shit.
That's my bad.
Finn's a little shit. All right, he knows what he's doing. That's great. I mean, look at him. He should be, but Finn knows what he's doing. All right, yes. He's the smartest man in Judgment Day. I texted you last night. He's been the puppet master this entire time.
I've been saying that. I've been saying the leader this whole time has been Finn.
W's for the IWC.
Oh my god, I'm obsessed with him. He's like a 40-something-year-old man that's like not online enough. I wouldn't even say chronically online, but like he's online enough to know what people are saying. So
you have to.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting Finn versus Dom anytime soon, but I would say my guess is that we're going to have a Judgment Day that's comprised of Finn and JD, Roxanne and Raquel. And then when Liv comes back, we're going to see Liv and Dom on the outside. And that is when we can probably see Finn versus Dom. But they need to add more to it for Dom to feel comfortable to leave the group.
Yeah, exactly.
And to be that baby face. Because I do think that Dom is such a good heel, but he can be a tweener. And it's like you love him, so you cheer for him. But like he's still like a nasty little twerp. You know what I mean? So it's like if he does something bad, you're like, okay, I fucking hate you, but you don't hate him the way that you hate like the Judgment Day, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think that could be really good though. This makes me laugh. Okay, so we saw Rusev versus Sheamus slap someone.
That's literally, that was my tweet. I just had Sheamus and Rusev slap meat. Like that was because that's what they did. There was just a bunch of meaty big.
Did you
meaty
really
men
tweet
stuff.
that?
No, go look at my tweets. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Okay, because I legitimately had no idea. I just was like, this would be funny if I said this, but that's funny.
No, I legit tweeted this. Hopefully I didn't tweet a lot today. It's catching up on Love Island. Where is it? Holy shit for the wins. I'm trying to find. Yeah, Rusev and Sheamus slap meet 5 stars.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't see that tweet. So anyway, so they didn't prolong this feud that they have going on between Sheamus and Rusev because they had a match like 2 weeks after they kind of like confronted each other backstage. And this match was killer. I think it got like 15-20 minutes.
They got 2 commercial breaks. They got 2 commercial breaks.
So and I think that you kind of knew that. Like I wouldn't say that when people reflect on Rusev's first time in WWE that most people would say anything about him not being a good wrestler. Like he might not stand out or put on 5-star matches every single week, but he wasn't a guy that you were like, oh, that was rough, you know? So
they're Sheamus, rough in another way.
Yeah, him versus Sheamus you knew was going to be good. I agree that Rusev should have won. I don't care that he won, via trickery with the turnbuckle. I think that if they're going to continue this, which I assume they are, Rusev needed to win because if we look back at what Rusev has done in this WWE return, he's only beaten like Otis and Tozawa. So if he then lost to Sheamus, it's like
that would be a step down. There would be a step down a bit.
It would be so bad though because it's like, how are we supposed to take Rusev seriously? You know, like he was this dominating machine in his first run for most of it. So if he comes back and immediately loses to Sheamus in his first, I would say, serious match, it's not a good look. So I thought this was fire. Very unexpected, but very entertaining.
I would like to see him best of 7. Why not?
That's what everybody was saying online.
Why not? Just give it to me. That.
I also did not realize this because I know you're not going to like this, but because Pat McAfee is not on commentary, it's so much easier for me to just like tune out the commentary and listen when I want to, because it's not distracting.
No, I get what you mean.
So I missed this, but apparently Michael Cole mentioned Alberto Del Rio.
He didn't. He did. He did.
And I'm just hoping that doesn't mean anything because boy, we don't need him. We don't need him. We didn't.
I like him.
Do you not understand the things that he's been accused of against women?
I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Pat McAfee. I'm sorry.
No.
No, we're talking about El Patron. Yeah, no, fuck him. No, fuck him.
Okay. I was like, wait.
Sorry,
I'm about to exit this shit right now. If you're like, oh, it's fine. Like, I understand what he did to women. It's totally cool. What?
I'm talking about McAfee. I'm so sorry. No, Alberto Del Rio. What are we doing? No.
Yeah.
Oh.
God, I'm glad you caught that, so I didn't have to be like.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I was listening, but like looking off because I don't know. I don't know where to look sometimes. You know what I mean? Look at you. Look at here. Look at.
Yeah.
Whatever. Point is that we all think Alberto Del Rio is a piece of shit.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to which we already kind of talked about, Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn. It ain't over. We saw, of course, Sami win at Night of Champions, but Karrion Kross did attack him backstage. So clearly, this is not anywhere near over. On top of Karrion Kross, I guess the timing is a little odd, but he loses at Night of Champions and then gets 3 brand new T-shirts. So
amazing.
The 3 of them were in the top 5.
Good Soldier. Good Soldier's a really good one. I like Good Soldier.
Yeah, I think those are some good shirts. They're also, I think, a little bit more wearable in everyday life, because some people, it's like, I don't want to wear a wrestling t-shirt because it looks like a wrestling t-shirt. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just want to wear a t-shirt.
When you have bootios across your chest, you can't really wear that everywhere,
Yeah. But I do think that these ones are a little bit more wearable, which is nice. And I also like that they're all black. That's nice too.
They are nice. Slimming.
Sure. So, yeah, I'm intrigued by this because I feel that there's there's still a lot to explore here, and I think that we kind of have talked about it before with Sammy specifically, because Karrion is so good at the mind games and the things, the promos that he cuts. And I really want to see him get into the mind of Sami Zayn, because I feel that would just be so interesting, because that's also what Karrion has done with everybody that he's had a short feud with, or prolonged feud with. You know, he got in their head, and it definitely dictated like what happened to them. So I want to see how that is going to play out with Sammy.
I want this to go deeper into Sammy. Like, you're all alone. I mean, I saw the promo he cut afterwards, social clip, and he was basically saying how no one came to his aid, no one came to help him, all yada yada yada. Where are you now? Well, Jey Uso did come to save him later on, but
yes,
besides the point is that he needs to tap into that darker side. We haven't really seen that. Yeah, we've seen him tap into a heel side, but that's completely different from what Karrion Kross is trying to pull out of him.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, I know that people are very anti-heel turn for Sammy right now, which to a certain degree I understand. I guess like the reason why I've been saying that I would like to see heel turn is just because I want to see more depth to Sami Zayn, the character. And right now I feel like it's all very surface level. You know, it's just like the same thing that we just keep seeing, where it's like, he cares about people and he's a nice guy and he cares about social things,
Justice.
You know, like, and he wants to be there for his friends. You know, it's like, okay, cool. Like, can you get
so
a
does
little
everybody.
bit? Yeah, so that's the thing, is like, I want to see more from him, and I think that this feud with Karrion can bring that out in him without him turning to a bad guy. You know, there's nothing wrong with you being more aggressive in a match because you want to win, you know? And that's all Karrion is really trying to say, is like, don't stop yourself from what you feel like is going too far, because if you want to win, you have to do that. And so if we can see that kind of stuff from Sammy, then I would be content.
I would too. I would do that.
And something I am not content with is
yes,
Ludwig Kaiser.
No, he's back. No, it's who knows?
Okay,
who knows?
We're being real. So first of all, I'm excited that Kaiser is back. You know, he was creeping in the background in some shots again. However, I am not thrilled about Ludwig Kaiser cosplaying a cosplaying wrestler. I am not, because this is why. Okay, so two things. One, I don't love that they're having him do this because he's too good. Like, he doesn't have to be doing this. And to me, this just feels like we don't know what the fuck to do with you. So we're just going to throw you here because the opportunity arose because Gable got hurt. So here you go. We want to keep Grande going and whatever.
I mean, we have to keep the facade up at some point.
Sure. So the other thing that I don't love is, and this kind of goes along with something we were talking about earlier, but when Triple H and Nick Khan come out and say that they don't listen to the fans, that they don't look online and what the IWC is saying and blah, 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 you're a bullshitter, because the only way you came up with Ludwig Kaiser being Chad Gable is from the internet. You saw fans talking about it for the past however many weeks about how he looks like he could be the real Americano. And then when Gable got hurt and when it was announced, it was like, oh my God, what if they start using Kaiser, blah, blah, blah. You did not come up with that on your own, because there's not a lot that you can give them credit for when it comes to something like this random and outlandish, whatever. This is not one of those things that you can be like, oh yeah, those 60-year-old dudes that sit in the writing room for WWE, they definitely came up with this on their own. No, you didn't.
I beg to disagree.
See, I think it was the internet. They definitely got this from the internet.
I think that there were plans for this type of thing to happen where El Grande Americano is played by someone else.
You don't think that this came about once Gable got hurt? You think this was the plan before that?
I think they were going to have someone else cosplay as El Grande Americano.
See,
I just think that I you know, like, in the way it was supposed to, it's going out right now. No, it definitely not. But Chad Gable's injury definitely threw a wrench into the situation. And this was their Band-Aid where they already had the plan of doing one of those, probably, like, it's not me, he's right here, and it's someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But because of certain things happening, you're getting Kaiser right now. And I'm totally fine with it. I'm entertained by it. There's other shit going on that I'm entertained by. This is funny. This is funny to me.
This just gives me slight like PTSD because it makes me worry that this is going to be like the new Stardust situation. And so I really do not want that to happen because I really do think that they probably wanted Kaiser back on TV. Mm-hmm. And they just didn't have anything for him to do because Dom is hurt right now. And you probably don't want to put him against Dom for the IC title on top of the fact that AJ Styles is the next guy in line. They don't want to pair him with Gunther because they've kind of already moved past the Imperium thing and he's doing his own thing. They don't really have a whole lot for him to be doing. Because of all these other stories that are intertwined. So it's like, okay, well, this opportunity came up. And it was like, all right, let's do it. The internet's saying it. It's going to be kind of funny. And at least you're on TV. Like, I can appreciate that I'm going to get to see Kaiser wrestle, assuming that I will. I just hope that this isn't a prolonged thing because I want to see Ludwig Kaiser. I don't want to see Ludwig Kaiser cosplaying as El Grande Americano.
I'm for it. I want to hear him talk. I want to hear him say gracias like this. Oh, like, that's where I want it. Oh, just a little shit like that would be so funny.
Yeah.
Get some comments while I pee. I have to go so bad.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Richard says, I can tell Triple H wants to book Ludwig, but both champs are heels. Exactly. It's like, especially because he was involved in the IC title leading up to WrestleMania. So, I mean, it would be easy to just throw him back in there, but he won't be jumping the line in front of AJ Styles, and Dom can't wrestle right now. We don't know how long. So he can't even do that anyway. And they're not really prioritizing the title at this point. So they couldn't even do like a number one contender thing. But I get this too. He says, it gets Ludwig on TV, but I'd rather him off TV. Is this what he's booked to do? I think this is fine if it's not prolonged, because I think that Kaiser is too good of a wrestler and as a character on his own for this to become the new thing that they have him do. And I don't know how long Gable's going to be out, but I do believe that he had like a shoulder injury as well. Hopefully that doesn't mean he's gone for 6 months, similar to Liv Morgan, because that would concern me about what they're planning on doing with Kaiser. Like, there's no reason for him to have to be doing this for that long. So that does make me look a little weird. I Kaiser does not look good in the mask. I think it's like too big. I think that's part of the problem. It looks like it didn't fit him well. So that's the thing. If they were planning on doing this, at least for like the past week or two, they could have at least gotten him a mask that's the same, but like actually fit him. So let's hope that they do that. Because if he's going to have to wear that, it looks a little bit ridiculous at this point. So
he does look a little different. He looks a little different.
Yeah. He's
than the first guy.
Yeah. Then we see his friend, his former BFF / still BFF in real life. But anyway, Gunther, he comes out because God forbid Goldberg actually showed up, which is another thing. Reports were saying he was going to be there every week, but 1 week leading up to Saturday night's main event. He has not been there. So I'm like, cool. Gunther is having to feud with the cameraman again, because that's just what they keep doing.
He looked into that camera's soul. Again. He looked into the soul of that camera. Holy
he is
shit.
So good. He is so good. I know that I'm biased, but if you have listened to his promos over the past 2 weeks and you're not like impressed, I guess, and I don't really know what to tell you. Because this is the thing this is what I've been trying to convince people who don't like Gunther. And they're like, he sucks, he sucks, he sucks. You don't have to like somebody, but you can still give them credit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like Jey Uso, but I can give him credit for his appeal. Obviously, I understand the kids love him. The fans love him. He gets cheered. Like, he's like this top guy. People love to wear his merch. He's been in the company forever. He's a legendary tag team wrestler. I can give him credit for those things, but I'm not going to sit there and cheer for him. So that's the thing that I don't get. Like, Gunther is good on the mic. he's been good on the mic. And the fact that he can cut a promo like this to a camera tells you just how good he is, in my opinion.
He said he's the biggest bully around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is the type of energy that Gunther is giving off. Goldberg is not going in that ring to face the Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley's and even Drew McIntyre's, Braun Strowman's. This is a different beast with Gunther. That promo to me didn't feel like it was a relinquishing type of promo. Like, that felt like, no,
warning.
yes, it's a great word. It was a warning to Goldberg. And he even called out how his matches are only 3 minutes long. He said he's going to take longer than that. He's going to really beat him around. Like, that's exactly what I have been saying I want to see on this show. Gunther explained it that he will do exactly that at Saturday Night's Main Event.
And he's doing a good job about getting you more excited about the match, because I think that, like, unless you're a diehard Goldberg fan from his WCW days, most people are probably not really caring about this match, honestly, because you either just assume that Gunther is going to win, or you think the absurdity is about to happen, Goldberg is going to win, and then Seth cashes in. Like, most of the time people are just like not caring, even more so because it's on Saturday Night's Main Event and it's not on a PLE, so people are just like don't really care. But I think that Gunther's doing a good job to get some of those people to care, because he's also getting cheered.
I mean, it's because, okay, the people who are cheering feel like they're like you. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but in the way that we don't want to see Goldberg win. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want it. It's great to see Goldberg come back. We love to see him do his entrance and Goldberg, all that stuff. But when it comes to him winning, people having PTSD of what he did to the Fiend, what he did with the Undertaker, and that's where they're like, you know what? I don't care if Gunther is the most hated villain. I'm gonna cheer him. Like, I'm just cheering for whoever beats him, so that his final match is what it is, and that is a final match.
Well, and I think that's the way that I think most people should look at things, because I remember the chaos that came from Batista returning, the Blue Tista era.
I was pissed
when he came back and won the Rumble, and then people just hated him after that. And it was like, because he's an older guy, like, he's a movie star, he doesn't need to be here, blah, 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 blah. So, like, if you don't want these, like, older generation wrestlers coming in and, like, taking the spots of people who are actually actively on their roster and trying to establish themselves, you shouldn't want Goldberg to win, even if you hate Gunther. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So that feels like the easiest reason to, like, pay attention to what they're going to do in this match, and also hope that, the absolute worst case scenario does not happen and Gunther retains.
I want to see Goldberg's chest turn medium rare. Like,
yes,
I want to see him do his entrance. I want to hear the music hit, get hyped as hell, and then Gunther treat him like a steak.
And Goldberg just standing there, like, watching him take 15 minutes to get to the ring. And it's like, I would be doing that too. I'd be like, I get it, brother. He thinks he's the Undertaker. Why? Oh God, we got to watch him come all the way from the locker room.
Let's just hope he doesn't nail his head off the door.
Let's hope he doesn't injure Gunther like he has done to others.
Well, I mean, he almost killed the Undertaker.
Yeah. Or Bret Hart, according to Bret Hart. I hope. I just want
in
them
this
to
case,
move
yes,
on.
I agree.
I just want to see them move on. That's why we're going to talk about it. I liked that they kind of have him dabbling in some other things.
Well, I wanted your thoughts to segue into the next topic. I wanted your thoughts on how Gunther ended. There it is. How did you like his ending to his soliloquy that he gave? Because I thought it was brilliant transition into Mr. Money in the Bank.
First of all, I like that he was just like willing. He just like started talking shit to Paul and Seth because of the way that Paul was just like standing there with this like evil grin. And he was just like, you guys feel really proud of yourself for going all the way to Saudi Arabia for doing nothing. Like,
my jaw dropped on that.
I was like, and he was going to say more, but then Seth cut him off. And I was like, see,
whoa, buddy.
This is what I want from Gunther, though, because people don't know this side that he can actually like banter and like he's funny. He's naturally
he's funny. I mean, the fact when Seth told the crowd to cheer for him, and then instead of Gunther just looking at him and being like, all right, what do you want? Gunther played into it, was like, yeah, I'm the damn right, I'm the goddamn champ. Like, I love that side of him too. Like,
awesome. So I didn't necessarily love that Punk like pushed Gunther on his ass. I didn't love that. However, obviously LA Knight comes out and
I disagree, but for a different reason. Continue.
Okay, so first CM Punk comes out to go after Seth Rollins. He then chases Seth to try and run out of the arena, and then LA Knight sneaks up on him. And then as Punk is about to leave the ring, he pushes Gunther down. So they are now all intertwined in this storyline, which I love simply because I have been saying that if Gunther ever got another title reign, that we need to see him against guys like Seth Rollins, against LA Knight, against CM Punk, against Drew McIntyre, against Sheamus, against whoever, like main event caliber people, because he did not have that luxury the first time. So even if we don't see any sort of payoff between Gunther and Seth, Gunther, LA Knight, Gunther, Punk, whoever, for a while, because they're intertwined in other things, I don't care, because it just means that this is a moment that we can refer to in the future when they do bring these stories together and Gunther does, get challenged by one of them.
Yeah. Like it seems pretty evident to me that this was just a red herring. I don't believe that Seth and Gunther are going to feud from this. It's the push from Punk. And you said you hated it.
I don't like the champion looking like a moron.
To me, no, it wasn't like I didn't view it like him being looked at like a moron, and I saw people online saying the same thing. The way I viewed it as you knocked the champion off guard, like you weren't in his line of thought.
He wasn't paying attention to you at all.
Wasn't paying attention to you, and you just pushed him on the ground. Now you really fucked up.
Well, you cheap shotted him.
That's what I'm saying. Now you really fucked up.
Yeah.
And you went after me when I had no problem with you. Yeah. Now we have a problem. And CM Punk rationally acting irrationally once again. Like, I thought it was done very well, and I don't see Gunther coming off weak from this. If anything, he's stronger because he has that pissed off mode we've seen him get in the ring.
Well, and like I said, this can just be like the catalyst to their eventual feud, whenever that might be.
Exactly. Who can't, like, perfect. If that's it, great. That's a great start. A great little plug. Or, not plug, spark.
Oh, Micah thinks that Roman will return during what match?
I think he's saying whatever match Seth's in, but here's the thing: Seth is the Money in the Bank. He does not have a championship match at SummerSlam. I was gonna ask you about this because the only question I have from this that's worth having a conversation about: do you believe that LA Knight should win?
It's kind of hard because I feel like he deserves a win, and he deserves to get a win over a guy of Seth Rollins' caliber. However, I don't know what the direction of this feud is going to be. So it's like, what does a win do for him? Because it's not for a championship. Seth Rollins is not a champion. He's just the Money in the Bank winner. So, like, if he wins, he doesn't become the number one contender. If he wins, he doesn't win a championship. If he loses, that's not great either, because then it's like, well, what does he do now? So it's like, I don't know. It feels like the obvious answer should be yes, because again, it doesn't do anything for Seth Rollins. Like, again, not the champion. Nothing. It's not a contender match. It's nothing like that. And LA Knight can win off the back of something else. Like, let's say the Bronsons try to help Seth win, but it actually backfires. Something like that is totally fine. I just have a hard time believing that they'll have LA Knight win clean.
Yeah, clean with some interference. It doesn't matter to me. Seth Rollins has the Money in the Bank briefcase. He doesn't need to win a match until his eventual cash in.
Mm-hmm.
LA Knight needs a win to be viewed in that main event picture in a way similar to how Jey Uso was getting pushed to be recognized as someone who can be in the main event picture. LA Knight needs a win like this. All of his wins on SmackDown have been just against people that the fans and everyone expects him to defeat.
Mm-hmm.
Where with these, if you have him beat a guy like Seth Rollins, immediately puts him in the world title picture. With everything happening, coming up with, I think a draft coming up soon, or at least a shakeup at the least.
Yeah, LA Knight's going to Raw. He has to be.
You need to build up that world title picture. LA Knight's the perfect guy to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that he, like I said, I think he needs that to look like a main eventer in the eyes of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Micah is saying that he thinks that Seth versus LA should be for the briefcase, and that's when Roman returns during the match to cost Seth the briefcase. I don't think that's happening. I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that'll happen. I also don't think that they'll have Roman return at a Saturday night's main event.
You kidding me?
I think they'll have him return at SummerSlam or something else.
SummerSlam. That's the star power that Roman Reigns pulls.
The only problem I have, of course, as I said, I think earlier last week, is that Roman is set to start filming that new movie that he got cast in at the end of August.
And did you see who else is getting asked to star in that movie as well?
Yeah, Cody.
But
the problem is, there doesn't really feel like there's a point for Roman to come back at all between now and SummerSlam if he's just going to leave again. Like, don't come back, stay for a week or two, and then leave again, because then why am I going to get invested in anything that you're going to be doing? Like, if you're just going to dip again. I don't want to fall for the like, oh, Seth curb stomped him and he's like out again. No, let's not do that. He was just out for 4 months almost, and we're supposed to believe that like he's gone again now mysteriously as the movie's filming. Like, just don't come back until the movie's done filming. Like, yeah, that makes the most sense in my eyes, but I doubt we deal with that. But they're trying to kind of treat him as like he's an attraction now. So he's not. Tribal
Chief is an attraction. Yes,
he's overrated. Stop it.
Okay.
He is 1,000%. You again, as I've said before, you're
focusing. I'm a fan of Roman Reigns. That's why I'm a fan of the Tribal Chief. That's what
you weren't a fan of his all of the years before he was the Tribal Chief. You're ignoring him.
I was a fan of him with the Shield.
No, you were.
I love Roman Reigns in the Shield.
You did not love Roman Reigns in the Shield. The only people who loved Roman Reigns in the Shield were girls who thought he was hot.
No, I thought he was a great like Batista role in Evolution. Like, he was the muscle. Like, I love that element of it. Was he my favorite? No, probably Dean Ambrose was. But like, I loved Roman's role in the Shield.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so another match that got added to Evolution is the tag team titles that will be on the line from Roxanne and Raquel. They will face off against a Raw tag team, a SmackDown tag team, and an NXT tag team. Now, I know that this is not a favorable situation for the tag team champions. However, I am so into this because they really need to put this kind of effort into the women's tag team titles, and to feature them in this way by having 3 different tag teams from all 3 brands go at it on an all women's pay-per-view, I think is good, because this makes it feel like they're treating the titles like they're important again. I don't know that we have any tag teams besides maybe an NXT women's tag team that are a legitimate tag team. But it kind of feels like
these 3.
Oh,
I want your thoughts on the first one. I want your thoughts on the first team, because I know my thoughts.
I mean, I don't really care. I feel like it's inevitable. Like, they're clearly trying to do something with Alexa and Charlotte. So I could see that happening because it's not going to be Jade and Bianca. I mean, there's nobody else that's really doing anything that would make. Although the Raw tag team could be Natty and Maxine.
1,000%. Yeah.
Because they're trying. They came out with merch for them, so they're definitely trying to make them a thing. And I think that they're gonna want Natty at Evolution because I mean she is the boat. So
she needs to be at Evolution. Natty Neidhart is the overall matriarch of the women's division.
So I would 100%. Say I would lean more towards them than the Kabuki Warriors. I'm gonna go with because
you need Asuka.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that it'll be fun if they actually do. Oh, well, they only have one more Raw and SmackDown next week to kind of fill it out. But it would be cool if they had like number one contenders matches on the shows next week to figure out who they're facing. But yeah, I think this is cool. It gets more women on the show. I think especially having an NXT tag team is cool because it's showing you like what the future of the division is going to be. So I thought this was a good idea, actually.
I want to now you put it in my head. I want to see the Dungeon Dolls.
That's what I'm saying. They came out with merch for them.
And it's not bad merch either. It's not bad.
Yeah, it feels like they did that on purpose, setting us up, and they've been doing these backstage segments for no reason where they're just like hyping up Sheamus, and it's like, okay, like why are they in the back being like, Sheamus, you are so great? And it's like
now Sheamus is the leader. They just need a strong man to lead them. All right. Otis isn't there anymore. Tozawa's scared. Like I'm sorry.
Where is Otis? Is he injured?
He's hurt. No, he's legit. Yeah, he's legit injured.
Oh, okay.
The man.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on. Speaking of Evolution, I just want everybody to give me a round of applause for predicting that this was going to be a triple threat at Evolution. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Guys, get up.
Yeah. Stand up for your tribal queen. No, I'm just kidding. No, for real though. I did predict it.
We've been talking about this for 3 weeks, Sarah.
Or more than that, longer than that.
Probably. Yes.
So yeah, it was before Bayley even returned. I was saying that this is what was going to happen. So Bayley and Lyra get into it backstage, which then leads to them having a number one contenders match for the women's IC title to face a Becky Lynch. And it ends in a no contest because of a weird pin. And the referee was like, yeah, I counted to 3, but like they both won or they both lost. I don't fucking know. So that of course then resulted in them attacking each other all over the place in the arena. And then we kind of don't know what's going to happen from here. However, I do think this just means, like I said, next week we're going to find out that it's going to be a triple threat because that benefits Bayley and Lyra and it screws over Becky. So why wouldn't they do that?
It seems obvious. I mean, it doesn't have to main event, but goddamn, this should be a focal match of the show. These 3 women are going to steal the show with this match, and the feuds that can branch off in afterwards. I mean, you could have Lyra win, and Becky and Bayley start feuding because of how it happened, or you could have Bayley and Lyra feud because of one of them winning over a bullshit reason,
or they pinned the other one.
Exactly. It gives importance to the women's intercontinental championship that has been lacking for quite some time.
The thing that bums me out a little bit is I feel like this is a match that should definitely main event, and it's not going to because it'll be Rhea Io.
Rhea Io. I mean, it's not a world title. That's why. In my opinion, it's not a world title, and it still isn't the best feud that's going on right now. But then again, we have Trish.
No, this is a better feud. There is not a real feud between Io and Rhea. That's not.
That's not what I said.
You said that is you said it's not the best feud on the card.
No, it's the best. It's not. Okay, it is the best feud, but it's not a world title. That's where it's gonna go. It is the best feud right now on the card. But
thank you, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be a banger match. So I mean, I guess I shouldn't care. But you know, I think we still, a lot of the time, most of us still consider like the main event being like the match that we want the best match to be. Even if Rhea versus Io is going to be a really good match, it feels like this is the one that should be. And wouldn't that kind of send a message that the women's mid card titles are important if you have it as a main event? I'm just saying. Yeah, no, it's really good. And I think it's because of who's in it, right? It's like elevating Lyra. It's bringing people back to supporting Bayley after she was gone. And they're making the IC title again seem important, because even though Lyra didn't have a terrible reign regarding like how the matches went, they were forgettable because we didn't really get to see who Lyra really was. And this has definitely we've gotten to see why she's so highly regarded. You know, like we've seen her personality, we've seen her put on banger matches. She's in there with 2 of the 4 horsewomen. Like it's
2 of the best to do it.
Yeah, it's inevitably going to be great. So I am excited. I think that was the best thing. Anyway, I felt like a triple threat was the best case scenario.
Oh yeah, easily.
And then we move on to the main event, which was the Bronsons, who have a badass entrance.
I'm scared of those. I am scared of those 2. All right. To quote Vinny Lagooch, I wouldn't want to meet them in a dark alley. I wouldn't want to meet them in a light alley, because alleys are scary, and so are the Bronsons.
I liked what they did though, because I didn't particularly love like their first entrance where they kind of like tried to do like half of Bronson's and like half of Braun.
It was a SoundCloud mix.
Yeah, but this one was so cool. The presentation with their names on opposite sides, how it was like dark. Ironically wear similar gear, and that wasn't even something they had to try to do.
Well, it was ironically wearing the same gear, and then unironically basically doing the same motion after the beat drops.
Yeah,
Braun doing his thing, and then Bronson Reed just like.
That's why I was like, when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about the people who are saying, "Oh, like I don't really care about this group. Like there's no,
get bent
chemistry." I'm like, did you not see their badass entrance?
And then Paul Heyman just lurking behind there, all potato looking, walrus looking. He's like, it's incredible. Like,
yeah. So we see them take on Sami Zayn and Penta, because of course you got to get Penta on TV. Hello. And this match was good. Obviously, we got to see Sami partake in the Penta walk, which is always fun. Sami loves to give you a viral moment like that. You know,
he looked hurt doing it.
Yeah,
he was really selling on that.
Yeah. But this match ends in chaos, of course, but the Bronsons do win. And then when they're trying to tsunami and beat up Sami after the match, of course, we hear Jey Uso, because of course you have to have Jey Uso on the show. Thank God we didn't have to sit through 10 minutes of eating. But he did come to Sami's aid, which makes you wonder, is this the natural progression of what Sami and Jey are going to be doing next? Are we going to see Sami and Jey versus the Bronsons?
I don't know, Sarah. I kind of see Sami really turning on his main man, main event Jey Uso,
but
with this whole Karrion Kross Darkness thing. Like, Sami was there to help Jey Uso win. Sami was always there for Jey, but when was Jey there for Sami?
I know, but do you really think he like turns heel on him though?
No, it's the darker side. Like, that's the thing, is that like Sami won't be a true heel. He will just have that darker side. No, he'll be a villain. He'll be a true heel.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, I don't know, because they could also do it where he's like, he's just one of those people, you know, where you're always there for your friends, but they're never there for you. So like, you're not.
That's what I mean. That's what
like, you're not being mean or evil. You're just being like, okay, I can't always be the person that's there for you, but then when I need help, you're not there for me. Like, that's a relatable thing, I think, that people could get behind with Sami. So maybe he just like doesn't tag Jey in, or I don't know, maybe Jay doesn't come to his aid another time, and then Sammy's like questioning, like, are we actually friends or whatever? I don't know. But I mean, they got to figure out something to do with Jay, because right now they're not doing anything with him. So something's
got to happen.
Oh, did you just write this?
I did just write this.
I was just writing that too, and then I deleted it.
Look at me just being there. Look at that.
So
but yeah, before the Bronsons made their entrance last night, Paul Heyman alluded to Seth Rollins taking care of a plan B. And Sarah, I've been wanting to do a TikTok about this all day, but just work. You get it. Swamped with work.
Mm-hmm.
We have a place to talk about it.
Yes.
Right here in the art stream. Sarah, where's your mind going when it comes to the plan B for Seth Rollins' new faction?
I don't know, because when we've talked about who could be another member, like, nobody feels right for the group.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see people in the chat saying it's Ethan Page, maybe it's Ricky Starks, you know, whatever, assuming that plan B is a person. I know that those are the two names that have been floating around since the beginning of this group coming together, but as we've talked about, like, I don't know that I love either of them in the group for the reasons that I've said before, and that is, I don't feel like Ethan Page is a follower, so it's hard for me to imagine that he would join an established group and then just, like, you know, follow behind Seth Rollins. Like, I find that hard to believe. And I don't think, and I mean this in a respectful way, Ricky Starks is not intimidating enough to, like, be the kind of heel that they are trying to make this group be. I mean, especially when you're going to say he's going to be flanked by the Bronsons, like, he's going to look like a little kid compared to them, you know? So, like, that doesn't make sense either, but they also have him as a baby face right now. So, like, again, like, that would be quite a transition, and moving him to the main roster really early also. I'm not saying that he can't, but I think if we had to pick between Ethan and Ricky, it makes more sense for it to be Ethan. But again, I don't know that I buy him being willing to just be, like, you know, tucking his tail between his legs and, like, following Seth around like a puppy.
He's
like,
also the North American champion right now, so that would put a kibosh to things in my eyes.
Yeah.
And Ricky Saints seems like he just needs to stay in NXT right now, not for any bad reason. I just want to see Ricky Saints on TV, and the best way for him to do that is on NXT. I saw Cody Rhodes today online. I saw Cody Rhodes eventually turning heel.
Jackson says Sammy.
And that could lead to the darker side. But then again, Sammy, like, I could see to lead into the darker side, but I feel like this whole transition that Sammy's going through is more about winning a championship than anything, and the unleashing the darker side would be to get the championship, not to just also join up with Seth Rollins.
He's already been in a group that was led by somebody, and he left it because he didn't agree with what they were saying. So that's the thing. Like, I don't know that they would have him be in the bloodline and then not immediately, but then put him in another group, and that's kind of similar, you know?
No, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I think it could be interesting from just the standpoint of, like I said earlier, you know, giving more depth to the Sami Zayn character. But
correct,
like,
yes, but
I almost am. I kind of almost want to be surprised, like, if they are going to add another member. I want it to be somebody that I never thought of, because I don't think anybody thought Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed were going to join his group. I think everybody was
mesh so well.
Yeah, but I think everyone was, like, legitimately surprised that those were the two guys, right? So, like, there could be some random dude that's on the roster that we're not even thinking about, we're not even considering, and, like, he'll be that guy, and we'll be like, oh wait, I didn't think about him, but that makes sense. Could also be it's not a person. There's that too, because he said, you know, keeping it safe. Well, we don't know what Plan B is. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a person. It could literally be an actual plan or something. I don't know.
What about this guy? This gigantic human being.
I mean, that would be interesting. It would get Omos back on TV. I would almost hate it though, because I want to cheer for Omos because he's like such a nice guy.
Sarah, I'm gonna let you know right now. I feel like you still would cheer for Omos.
Well, yeah, of course, I still root for.
You
Seth.
want everyone else to cheer for him along with you, is what
I guess.
We're putting out.
This would be interesting. A female? That would be
Becky Lynch.
I know. I would love that. I would honestly love
that. That seems like.
I love it just because I would love for her to be in that group, but I don't love it because I don't necessarily need them to be in a thing together again just because they're married. You know what I mean?
See, and I don't even think obviously that's where your mind goes, but in my eyes, I don't, see that being an issue because of their legacy and whatnot. At this point, make Seth's faction be like a main event mafia.
Yeah.
Of just stars that know that they're better than the rest and act as such.
I guess it's like
they have
if they wanted to do it, then sure, but I know that they didn't want to do it the first time around.
Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely.
They might think it's kind of corny, which I know that I feel like that a lot of the time too, because it's like, okay, yeah, cool, they're dated or married in real life. Like it doesn't need to be on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it was a good idea, then sure. But I do think this is interesting that Seth was flying to Plan B. So, I mean, if that is NXT, I'm just not sold yet. I'm not saying like Ethan Page would be bad. I mean, he's got Seth Rollins vibes to him with that arrogance and the way that he can talk and whatever. And that's why I'm like, do we really need him to be in the group? Because he doesn't he doesn't need to follow somebody. He doesn't need Paul Heyman to speak for him. I mean, he's close to 40 years old. It's not like he's new. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess if it were to be Ethan or somebody else from NXT, then I would need to I would need them to convince me that it was a good move. You know what I mean? And do not put it out there. Okay. Do not do that. Do not.
No, he's not.
I think Plan B was a callback
hates.
I think
there's always a Plan B.
Yeah, I think that's a callback to.
Of course it is. That's what wrestling is.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who was there for that. Shout out to everybody who was actually there.
That happened. Fun fact, Sarah, that happened on my parents' anniversary.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just get irritated, and I know this, I don't mean this like in a gatekeepy way. I just get irritated with people who pretend like they were around for something when they weren't. So like people acting like they were around for the Shield when they weren't. It's like, let's stop. Or you were, oh my God, I've been a Cody fan for so long when you literally became a fan of him 3 years ago. Like, oh my God, what if Cody were a heel? As if it's like, guys, he was a heel like almost the entire time that he was in WWE. Like, what are we talking about? That kind of shit just pisses me off. But yeah, I hope you're wrong, Micah, because I cannot stand that man. So
the group needs a pin eater, I think, is the comment of the night.
But then,
I mean, they low-key do though.
Do we want that to be Ethan Page?
That's true. We need Giovanni Vinci. Where are you?
That is incredibly rude.
Incredibly
rude.
Well, I mean, Finn doesn't get pinned anymore. Finn pins.
Yeah, he's win.
And you win when you listen to Finn.
Yeah, he's win Balor. So, or Baylor, excuse me.
Ooh, Karrion Kross and Scarlett from Alien Technology.
Interesting.
Not like join, but like align themselves.
Maybe.
So
they kind of feel like they're on different wavelengths, but I don't know. It could maybe work. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of this potentially just being a surprise, because I don't think like I said, we didn't really know that this was going to happen in the first place. You kind of just thought it was going to be Seth and Paul. And so the fact that it was Braun Breaker first, and then it was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And then the fact that then Bronson Reed came back, and it's like, oh my God. So I want to feel the same way for whatever happens next. If they do add somebody, then I want to be surprised, but I also want to like it. I know that's asking a lot, but you know.
I agree. And that was Raw, everybody.
It was.
Rewinding Raw. Because the holiday, it feels like we are not going to be back until the week. But we'll have clips posted and stuff. And everyone just enjoy your 4th of July. Everyone needs a rest. You know, I just took basically the weekend to rest and relax, not only in my bed, by the pool, with family and friends. I feel like everyone should do that this weekend and recharge the batteries. Everyone's going 1,000 miles a minute in life right now. And sometimes we need some time to sit back, relax, and recharge our batteries. So we'll be doing that, but still enjoy all the wrestling that's going on. We have a lot of wrestling to watch with NXT on right now. We have Dynamite's 300th episode on Wednesday. TNA is preparing for Slammiversary on July 20th. All In, Evolution, and then the Glorified House Show that is Saturday night's main event. Goldberg's final match. Sarah, a lot of shit to be hyped for, and I can't wait to talk about it here and to anyone who will listen. So in the meantime, hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we post. Follow us on TikTok as well. No Nights Off Show, over 1,000 followers. Hey, nice of you to show up. We were just talking about you like half the show and how you just crushed that promo. Now you look into the eyes of the camera here. You look into the eyes of the camera on Raw. When are you going to look into the eyes of Goldberg? That's my question.
Hopefully next week he won't be too chicken to show up.
I hope not. I want to see an entrance. All right.
I want to see him like slap down Gunther so then I can feel like I know that Gunther's going to win.
Oh, like, you know, he hits him with a spear and like,
yeah.
Okay. I get what you mean. Yeah, that'd be nice. Give me hype for the show. Where was I? Oh yeah. Social medias, follow us on all of them. At Patty Pitts on Instagram and Twitter, and then at SMarshXO on Twitter. Yeah, I'm about to go do the some nonsense. Sarah, your show is up right now because we just had SmackDown. I'll have notes for the next time we do the Super Show. We have Clash at the Castle coming up. Right now, your hottest feud on your show is Liv versus Io.
Let's go.
Actually, no, I take that back. It's actually Becky versus Rhea.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the title. So. Okay, he's on my show.
That's how I feel, though.
Yeah, but he's on my show. I have the on mine.
Well, okay.
So, but yeah, if you're interested in the Nonsense Wrestling Federation, go check out twitch.tv/Nonsense Sports Network. And if I get 5 people interested, give me a day and we will stream it so it can go from my mind to your screen. And with that note, thank you for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. See you next week.